Hi, this is Peter Asher. I'm here in this beautiful wine cellar at the City Winery here in New York. The reason I'm here is actually that I'm playing a gig here on the 28th, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm playing with Albert Lee, who I'm sure you know as one of the greatest guitar players in the world, indeed referred to as that by no less than Eric Clapton. He's also a terrific singer, and we've worked together a few times. We've known each other many years, of course. I've always been a fan of his playing. We sung together at a couple of benefits and so on. I sang at his birthday party, and we discovered that we really enjoyed singing together. He's an underrated singer. He's a terrific lead singer. And we have fun doing some Everly Brothers songs, some old songs from my history, some songs from his history, and we both tell some stories and reminisce and stuff. It's a very casual show. It's kind of a living room kind of a vibe. You know, audience participation is welcome, heckling is fine with us, and so on. But in the meantime, I'm here in New York by myself on this occasion, about a week ahead of the gig. And of course, I don't have Albert with me, or indeed anyone with me. And any of you who know my history know that my history was as a harmony singer. You know, I began in this duo in England in the 60s called Peter and Gordon, and which we started singing together at school, trying to sound as much like the Everlys as we could, not succeeding. And that's how my career in music began. And then I went on to produce records with James Taylor and Linda Ronstadt and manage James. Indeed, I kind of found James in the first place, and I managed him and Linda and Carole King and Randy Newman and a bunch of other people. But I still like to sing very much when I get a chance. So in between all this other stuff I'm doing, I relish the opportunity to do gigs, especially with someone as amazing as Albert. Of course, the snag is that, as I say, I'm generally a harmony singer. So here I am, and they've requested that I do a couple of songs in this great-sounding cellar. But as I say, I'm not really a lead singer. I don't have many songs I do on my own. So I did manage to think of a couple that I could give a try to, if you will indulge me. Now, the first one is a song that I learned in England way back in the early 60s from our local rock and roll hero, who very few of you will have heard of, by the name of Cliff Richard. He was kind of our Elvis. He had hits, huge hits in the UK, and indeed continues to do so. Cliff is still out and about and singing. I learned this song from him, and the reason I learned it is that a somewhat disreputable reason, it could be said, because back in the day, one of the reasons I learned the guitar in the first place is that there's always supposed to be something about learning to play the guitar and sing that helps with women. That's what rock and roll is really all about, and why most of us took up the guitar in the first place. So I figured I needed a song that I could sing at parties when I was trying to impress somebody. So if I'd met some beautiful young lady with whom I hoped later in the evening to have a more profound philosophical conversation than the one we were having at the party, this is the song I would sing. So I don't expect it still to work, but you never know. It's called A Girl Like You. You'll get the picture. Angel face, we just met. Just how lucky can one guy get? There's a light in your eyes. I know it's love, and I know that I could be happy with a girl like you. Tell your ma, tell your pa, and tell your favorite old wishing star we're in love just by chance. I asked you if you'd like to dance fancy dancing with a girl like you. Funny how love can come to a lonely heart. I'm a boy, you're a girl, I guess that's a pretty good start. Here I am, there you are, together baby we could go far. A girl like you, a boy like me, two hearts together like they ought to be. Can't believe it, I got a girl like you. Now if you come to the gig, this is where Albert Lee plays an amazing guitar solo, but I can't. My guitar playing is there just for contrast. So you have to imagine a brilliant solo in here, which you'll get when he's here. Funny how love can come to a lonely heart. I'm a boy, you're a girl, I guess that's a pretty good start. Here I am, there you are, together baby we could go far. A girl like you, a boy like me, two hearts together like they ought to be. Can't believe it, I got a girl like you, a lovely girl like you. I found a girl like you. And at that point she swoons into my arms and we leave the party, or so it goes in my dreams. Anyway, so that's one song. And then I figured if I was going to do a second song, even though this is really a harmony song, it's probably a song I should do because this is the song that kind of began my career in the music business. Gordon and I were at school singing together, and as I say, and then we played a bunch of pubs and clubs and places like that. We took any gig we could get just to get out there and sing. We did a pub every lunchtime for £1 each and a free pint of beer, which was a fantastic deal. More than I'm getting now, I hasten to add. And that was always fun. But one night we got spotted by an A&R guy from EMI Records, and he asked us to come and do an audition for EMI, which we did, to the famous studio on Abbey Road. It wasn't called Abbey Road then, but that was the address. And we passed the audition and they signed us up and set a date for our first recording session. So this was very exciting, and he had some songs that we'd been doing live that he wanted us to record anyway, the A&R guy. And he also said, look, if you know of any other songs that you'd like to add to the mixture, please say so. Now, this is a whole long story, which I'll tell in greater detail, but due to a confluence of circumstances, and all rather kind of amazing, at this point in time, Paul McCartney and I were actually sharing the top floor of my parents' house in London. He'd been going out with my sister Jane, and they'd invited him to move into the guest room and so on. So he and I had become friends, and I'd heard a lot of songs that he was working on. And I tell some of those stories also in the show. But I'd heard this one song called World Without Love that he'd written that I really liked, but he told me that they weren't recording it. John Lennon didn't like it. He didn't think it was right for the Beatles, so it had been abandoned. Paul had written 2 verses and never written the bridge and never finished it. So cut to, we have our record deal in place. I'm thinking about songs we'd like to sing. And I went back to Paul and said, listen, that song that you played me that was rejected, it was an orphan song, is it still an orphan or has anyone adopted it? And he said, no one's doing it. If you want it, you can have it. And I said, great, because we've got a record deal now and we're going to record several songs on our first session. I'd really like to try that song. So to cut a long story short, or fairly short, we added World Without Love to the list of songs for our first session. It came out rather well. I loved being in the studio. I talk about that too. But by the end of the session, there was no doubt in anyone's mind that World Without Love was going to be our first single. It came out, went to #1 in England, incredibly to us, #1 in America and all over the world, and changed my life forever. So I'm going to end this mini set with a shortened version because there's a keyboard solo in the middle, which I cannot do, but you'll get the drift. This is the song that kind of began my career and the first #1 record that Gordon and I ever had, called World Without Love. Please lock me away and don't allow the day here inside where I hide with my loneliness. I don't care what they say, I won't stay in a world without love. Birds sing out of tune and rain clouds hide the moon. I'm okay, here I'll stay with my loneliness. I don't care what they say, I won't stay in a world without love. And the bridge, which Paul finally wrote at the last minute. So I wait, and in a while I will see my true love smile. She may come, I know not when. When she does, I'll know. So baby, until then, lock me away and don't allow the day here inside where I hide with my loneliness. I don't care what they say, I won't stay in a world without love. I don't care what they say, I won't stay in a world without love. An instrumental ending. Thank you very much.